Hi, my name is Experiata, and I am the universe's guardian of stories, for all real stories must be guarded and protected, just like a secret. And I've come to tell you a strange and exciting secret and a mystery. You do like secrets and mysteries, don't you? Then listen carefully to this story before it fades away. Many centuries ago, two small creatures lived in a wonderful place called Moon Valley. One creature was named Abner, and the other handsome guy was named Bartholomew. Now Moon Valley was a wonderful place to live, for the sun was bright and toasty warm, and the valley was filled with many creepy crawly things. These little critters were very delicious, and they provided Abner and Bartholomew with a great deal of food, and lots of things to play with and to chase after. Bartholomew acted like an aristocrat, while Abner, well, he just ran around excitedly after those little critters. Life was a constant hide-and-seek game for Abner. Life was gentle and peaceful in Moon Valley, and just as it should be, until, well, one day, a fully whopper of a rainstorm occurred, and it created a dreadful mudslide that slowly oozed down the mountain and blocked the valley. And at the same time, the raindrops grew larger and larger. Well, as the water rose, Abner and Bartholomew climbed to higher and higher ground. They swam frantically, just trying to stay alive. Finally, when the storm ended and the precious sun returned to the valley, Abner and Bartholomew were trapped on a mysterious island in the middle of a lake. What was once their peaceful valley was now their prison, and they were running out of food critters. Matters were getting desperate for our brave survivors. Now Abner was quite a friendly guy, and a dreamer, and a visionary. He was always playfully smiling and full of hope and good cheer, even about their tiny island in the valley. Abner had a fine view of life, and seeing all the food things flying overhead, all around the island, he began jumping up and down excitedly, waving his forelegs in the air. This was really a jaw-dropping, eye-popping spectacle, and all the critters enjoyed Abner's playful ways, and his jumping and flapping, and it made Bartholomew laugh and laugh at the comical sight, and he rolled in the grass, and he got his lovely colored polka dots all dirty and wet. Of course, Bartholomew wasn't accustomed to being messy and undignified, but he couldn't stop laughing and giggling. Of course, he didn't mind, because for the first time in his life, Bartholomew was truly having fun.
Look at that silly fool. He thinks he can fly off the island. Or maybe he just wants to fly up and catch those tasty little bug things. But he can't. What a muddle-headed waste of time. He's frittering away his youth and squandering good energy.
As you can see, Bartholomew was quite a gloomy creature who rarely saw the good or hope in anything, and he spent most of his time grumbling and complaining. So he kept watching and laughing as Abner continued jumping and flapping. I told you this was a mystery, and it is, for none of the creatures on the island could understand what Abner was doing, even after years of jumping and flapping. Of course, Abner didn't only jump and flap. He took time out to raise a family with Clarissa. Ah, Clarissa, a sweet and friendly girl. She really seemed to understand Abner. Bartholomew also raised a family, but there was a great difference between the two families. Because of Abner's faithful and continuous jumping and flapping, he enlivened wing genes and passed those on to his offspring, who then grew wings, while Bartholomew passed on his doubting, judging, criticizing, and laughing genes. When Abner's offspring grew up, they jumped and flapped, and finally flew around the island chasing food things, flying everywhere, flying all around, while Bartholomew's offspring continued doubting and judging and criticizing, though they weren't laughing anymore.
Look at how lucky Abner's kids are. They have wings. That's just the way the world is. That's life. Everything has its cycles. The good, like our life in Moon Valley. Then the good fades. Or it is washed away with a rain of tears until you're surrounded by the bad and you can't get away. So you learn to deal with what you're given in life. You sure know what you've got today, but you don't know what you'll get tomorrow. Be careful of tomorrow, for the good won't last.
And sadly, Bartholomew and his family returned to their old, suffering, judgmental life as usual. Unhappiness set into their bones as aches and pains. But Abner's kids were quite happy and excited. They didn't know how or why they were so blessed to have wings, but they were certainly pleased, and they felt quite rewarded and blessed. Were they really blessed? Or just born under a lucky star? Or was it all a happy accident?
Our great-grandfather Abner did all the right things by jumping and flapping to enliven wing genes, so we could have these fine wings today. Boy, we sure are lucky.
But Abner didn't develop wings, so regardless of his right actions, he didn't benefit. His offspring got all the rewards and the fancy wings. But, as you might guess, Bartholomew's offspring felt that life was unfair. They hadn't done anything wrong to be denied wings, so they grumbled and they judged.
Obviously, great-grandfather Bartholomew must have been bad. We're being punished for his sins. Yeah, that's right. That must be the reason why we got stuck on this tiny island and didn't get any wings. We didn't do anything wrong, so why are we being punished?
They wanted to believe that this was the creature God's way, and they had to faithfully bear this burden so they could have their angel wings in another life. But actually, they were quite angry at everything around them, at Abner and his offspring, at their great-grandfather Bartholomew, at each other, at the food things that flew out of reach, at the water, and especially at their creature God and his unfair universe. Several weeks ago, I had a talk with Abner, and I asked him whether he was angry that he did all the jumping and flapping and didn't grow wings, while his offspring gained the wing benefits of all his efforts.
Heck no! Every time I jumped up, I caught one of those food things flying by. So I ate real well. Besides, all that exercise, well, it kept me happy and fit. And I've lived a long and strong life. Actually, I flapped my arm, because I enjoyed seeing Bartholomew laugh so much. He was a sad and unhappy creature, you know? I wanted to cheer him up. And I laughed about when he got spots all wet and muddy. He was a wonderful sight. Though I probably shouldn't have laughed. But the more I laughed, the more he laughed.
Then Abner looked around secretively and mysteriously. He lowered his voice so only I could hear.
You know, I was inspired to jump. Oh, I don't know why. I just was. Without an inspiration, most creatures live lives of quiet desperation, without any real meaning or purpose. Besides, when I come back to life again, I'll have wings too. Won't that be grand? The only thing, though, I'll miss Bartholomew. How's he doing these days? Have you seen him lately? Oh, have you talked to him? How's his family? Are they growing big and strong? I don't suppose any of them have wings, do they? Well, that's the way life is. We create our own fate now, don't we? Does he still live on the Grand Island in that bright little cave? It was really nice. I remember it well. But he always grumbled. It was really a nice place, and we had lots of friends. But we moved back to the valley when the water went down. Oh boy, I sure miss the old place. Things were really fine.
And Abner was excited, speaking of Bartholomew and the good old times at the Bat Cave. And he was breathless with questions. And I had spoken to Bartholomew just the day before. So I told Abner of our conversation, and that Bartholomew and his family still lived on the small island in the cave. But he made it a dark, unpleasant place, not the great place Abner described. Bartholomew's cave, like his life and his family, was dark and unpleasant, because he believed that was their place in life, their fate, ordered by his creature God. I showed Abner the cave where Bartholomew and I talked, and told Abner just what Bartholomew said.
I'm really angry that Abner and his kids got all the good stuff, and we're stuck here. And I didn't get anything, except those damn bats. What did I do that was so wrong? How did I cause all this? What did I do? Maybe I should have been more faithful. But God caused the rain and mudslides. It was all His fault, and now He punishes me. Oh, God hates me and my whole family. He caused the mess and blames me. His life isn't fair. In fact, His life is cruel. He should try living here like we have to do. And it rains a lot. Doesn't God know anything but rain? Last week, my little boy got stuck in the mud for hours before we found him. And he was scared almost to death. And he cried the whole time. Whatever happened to compassion and to forgiveness? And my daughter broke her leg and has to hobble around. It's God's fault. Brenda didn't deserve that. She's a good girl.
If you believe life is cruel and unfair, you probably judge and blame like Bartholomew, though maybe you're a bit quieter than Bartholomew about your judging and blaming. But you're probably suffering the pain and problems and ailments of judging and complaining. One more thing for you to think about. If you see other creatures jumping up and down, waving their arms around excitedly and shouting, and getting nowhere, don't laugh at their words or actions, for they and their children and their children's children are probably inspired and might just fly off and leave you behind. Maybe they know something you don't know, or maybe they're truly inspired by life, like Abner. Oh, by the way, the other day I saw Bartholomew's granddaughter excitedly jumping and flapping and laughing with the joy of life, while several of her family members watched with great interest, without judging or criticizing, and no longer doubting. How are you doing? What inspiration are you excited about that you want to jump and flap about? Remember, you too can fly with inspiration.